This is a whole mood. This is Christmas. Vienna knows Christmas markets. It's a place you want to visit for the holidays. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name's Jordan Beck.
And I'm Elytra Beck.
And this is Around the World of Beck.
We currently live in England and we are trying to visit 50 countries before we move. This is number 13 and also number 14.
Before we get too far in today's video, go ahead and down below and hit the subscribe, like, and share button. It means a lot to us.
We are on a big adventure today, our first dual country visit. And that'll only work if we can actually catch the train. The train systems here are really cheap and fairly easy to navigate. However, we don't speak or read German, so that makes that slightly harder. However, I think we found the right place. So we get to sit on this train for about an hour, and we get to wear these fancy special FFP2 masks that are required for all public transportation, grocery stores, that kind of thing. So we just picked some up when we went to the local grocery store and picked up our breakfast this morning.
The grocery store is actually right across from our hotel, which we arrived at about midnight last night. Took a typical flight from Stansted Airport over to Vienna International Airport. We went through customs, which was pretty easy. Vienna requires that you have your vaccination fully completed and relevant within 360 days of arriving to the country. It's also the first country to do so in the European Union. You kind of have this expiration date for your vaccine. After we got our bags, we tried to figure out the train system. We were all pretty tired, so we ended up just taking a taxi to the hotel. And when we arrived, they required that they get record of your vaccination. And once they have that record of your vaccination, you actually don't have to wear a mask inside the hotel. The next day, woke up and took a short walk, about 10 minutes over to the main station, where we tried to figure out the rails and headed to Bratislava, Slovakia. So we have about 12 hours here. We're trying to figure out what we can do to make the most of our time. And the best way to do that is by taking a panoramic tour, which we're waiting on right now. So we're on board this bus here. There's only like 5 of us. It's kind of heated, kind of not. It's kind of cold today as well. So it's nice to break up the different spots and avoid the weather. Come back here, listen to the audio tour, and see all of what Bratislava has to offer. And there's a lot to see, and the best way to travel is through a panoramic glass bus.
tour ended up being about 2 hours-ish, and 40 to 50 minutes of that would just give us time to walk around and explore So we had a pit stop at a World War II memorial, which was filled with a lot of beautiful statues. Then we also stopped at a castle, and there was some distinguished gentlemen that pulled up, cops, and then there was one car that had a flag on it, and some guy got out. I don't know. It was interesting, but we have no new information on what that was. The tour was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we did it. And now we've got about 2 hours to kill, so we are just walking around, exploring a little bit for our dinner reservations at 3:30 today. But they're somewhere super cool, and Jordan's extremely excited. We got to see a little glimpse of it from the tour, but I'm excited to see it from the inside. As we were walking around, we found this cute little cafe that we decided to stop in, just warm our hands just for a split second. And we both found hot chocolate on the menu, or what we thought was hot chocolate. So when I went to go film and just take a quick sip of it, it could just sludge towards my face, and it was like the consistency of like brownie batter. So I don't think it was it was hot and it was chocolate, but I don't think it was hot chocolate. Regardless, it was delicious. And then we looked out the window and we realized we were super close to our dinner spot, and it's awesome because I am so hungry.
So the Ufo Restaurant, located above the bridge, is, in my opinion, a little overhyped, perhaps. Basically,
it was beautiful, though.
It was, and especially at like night, because we went there pretty early, enough to kind of see the sun disappear. Mm-hmm. But for a single dish, it's roughly €40, and you have to order a main dish to get your ride to the top comped. Found that out the hard way. We just went for appetizers and a drink. Paid quite a bit. The dishes as well were also kind of locally inspired. So there wasn't really a whole lot of options, and because it was so nice, those types of restaurants usually only have like 3 dishes.
It wasn't what we were expecting, but it was delicious. It was a fun way to see the city, but I don't think I would do it again.
And now we have about 2 hours before the train. So we're just gonna kind of wander around, maybe try to get out of the cold because the temperature has dropped significantly, and see what the rest of the city has to offer.
This pretty much concludes our time here in Slovakia. I feel like we did a lot, but not a lot got captured on camera. You know, we're here on a Thursday night, not a whole lot going on, but I think that was really nice. Just seeing the quiet city streets and people interacting, doing their day-to-day stuff. Tried bits of food here and there. It was really good. It was really peaceful. We're gonna catch a train back to Vienna now, and then we will catch up with you guys tomorrow morning.
Sleeping in is usually not a luxury that we can afford, but today we slept in just a little bit. Once we got moving from the hotel, we made our way to the subway station, where we were able to take it to the shopping area we're in today, waiting for our first tour. We were able to take the subway station thanks to the Vienna Travel Day Pass, which allows for unlimited public transportation for 24 hours. Now we have 2 tours scheduled for today. The second one being a pastry tasting tour. The first one being a history walking tour, which we're waiting for right now.
Yeah, summer is gone, unfortunately, but this is where the people of Vienna go swimming, especially the new and old Danube. The new Danube, the water temperature goes up to about 25, 26 degrees. That's pretty warm. And the old Danube even higher up. Yeah, it's more like a bathtub. Called Müller. They call themselves the home of the schnitzel, but they are simply known for the size of their schnitzel. I'll see a few photos in a minute. Bigger than the plate itself, but also very thin. And it's a signature dish of Vienna, traditionally made of veal, but pork and chicken schnitzel is just as popular, breaded and pan-fried. Traditionally, they served with potato salad. If yours comes with French fries, then you've ordered from the kids' menu, and not from the real one. Ask for the potato salad instead. That's a real deal. It is getting busy again, but in normal years, there's a long line through the entire through house. People lined up to get in there because it's probably the most famous restaurant of Vienna. We've got another one down the street here as well, which is a bit bigger, but yeah, just as nice actually. Again, rather touristy place, but nevertheless good food and quite a nice place to go to for dinner. We actually walk through a couple of those through houses, and when we exit on the other side, we'll be standing in the religious center of Austria, St. Stephen's Cathedral, and we'll first take a look at the back side of the building, which is even more beautiful than the front side, as many things in life, is what a colleague of mine is always saying. I would never say that. Spend money on parties and festivities, on expensive clothes. He was a gambler, and his main problem was they didn't have any savings. So yes, there were then a few months where he didn't earn that well, and then he ran to travel because he didn't have any money left in his bank account, and he had to move out from a big apartment into a smaller one. But this one here used to be his biggest one, near the first floor. 4 rooms, 2 cabinets, little rooms, and a kitchen, which was pretty big for an apartment at the time. The size and opulence of the building actually contradicts the vow of poverty that they do, but the ruler of Vienna at the time appreciated them and sponsored them. This is how they could afford such a big church. From the outside, most interesting is the relief above the right wooden door here. Those 4 figures that you see up there. One man pointing at Jesus Christ on the cross, holding a lance in his hands. It's not St. George in this case. That's not just any lance. That's what is called the Holy Lance, or Spear of Destiny, that according to the story was used to pierce into the side of Jesus while he was hanging on the cross. And that Holy Lance, many commanders and emperors and generals took with them in important wars and battles because they thought to be invincible when carrying that Holy Lance with them. Yeah, it turned out they were wrong, but nevertheless, until today, it's one of the most important, one of the most venerated artifacts in Christianity. It still exists, the Holy Lance. It's on display in a museum, which is, any guesses where? In the Vatican? No, not in the Vatican. Not in Israel. In Vienna.
First and foremost, I am so glad that we've got these hats that we brought from Iceland, because it is every square inch of skin that's exposed right now. It's so freezy. So yeah, glad that my ears are covered. but the tour was amazing. It's about 2.5 hours. We've gotten really lucky that all of these tours that we found on Airbnb and just online have been so good, and that the tour guides are well informed, they're funny, they're really engaging. So I really like doing tours like this. We've learned a lot about Vienna during the tour. I didn't know that Mozart lived here for 10 years. There's also like these white horses that are bred here that are like from Spain, but it's due to like the long partnership with them. We got to see a couple of them. They were really pretty. Just so much stuff to see and so much beauty and culture. There's actually an opera house behind me right now, which he recommended that you could go and get standing tickets. I don't know if we're gonna try that because we've only got a couple nights here, but he did say that there's a sausage place right below that sells not only sausages, but also champagne for when you're feeling fancy. He did recommend a food place just down the street, about a 5-minute walk. We're gonna try and find that because we are so freezing, and it would be nice to just warm our hands and eat some good food.
As good as it was to warm up inside there, the food was even better. Once inside, I ordered a bratwurst and Alicia ordered a schnitzel. It was kind of a process getting inside. Essentially, they don't take reservations and it's quite a popular restaurant. And they require COVID vaccination, so we had to show proof of that, get record of all that. And just because of how packed it was, we ended up sharing a table with complete strangers. But it was an amazing restaurant. They made everything really quick, really fresh. You can kind of see there them just working away. From there, leaving the restaurant, and we have about 2 hours before our next event, which is only 2 blocks away. So this is quite a busy area, lots of shops. We're gonna see what souvenirs are available.
Austria is known for the Christmas markets, and when we were with our tour guide, we asked him if there's going to be any up in the next couple days while we're here. Unfortunately, not so much. However, it looks like there might be a Christmas market, a food market, something going on. Lots of pretty lights and lots of stalls, so hopefully we find something good.
We just wrapped up the pastry tour, and I'm really glad that we booked it because 1, we got to try all these amazing pastries that we probably would have missed, and 2, we were with a tour guide that is very familiar with the area, so we got to learn a lot about Vienna and just kind of experience it almost a little from a local's perspective. Our first stop was a high-end cafe where we got Cranberry Crepes. It was pretty good. They got pretty tart as you continue to eat them, so we didn't quite finish them.
But it was kind of like that like Yuletide vibe, like getting into the Christmas season.
Yeah, and then from there we went to our next location, which was a kind of express bakery that they specialized in the popular donut of Vienna. So much so that they had these little cartoon characters cut out hanging above the ceiling. And the donuts, I don't know what else you would call them. And these pastries had an apricot filling that was to die for. It was so good. Also, while there, I had mentioned that I like to bake, and one of the items that they had there was apparently something that I would like from what she learned in my baking expertise, and got me a little some extra gift, which was very nice of her, so Thank you.
And she said not to open it till we got back to the hotel, so we still don't know what's in that little bag.
Just a short walk from there was a food market that had all types of food, from fresh fruits and vegetables and fish and meats and pastries and pasta, which I was a huge fan of, cheeses and everything. And one shop in particular that caught our interest and we made a stop towards was a chocolate bar.
Almost like a factory type thing?
And so I guess the gentleman there makes unique types of chocolate. So the chocolate in the middle has this unique flavor, and on the outside it's usually covered with some sort of chocolate with a dark white or milk. And on the inside they have crazy flavors like cola and popcorn or
chili.
They have tiramisu, which we had to pick up some of those.
Yeah, it was really neat. She was telling us that essentially the founder had come up with this idea that he wanted to make these unique chocolates, and basically everybody had said that they didn't think that it would be a good business idea, but he persevered, and now they have over 500 kinds of chocolate that you can buy, so kind of cool. I really liked that tour guide. She was really awesome about making sure that she customized the experience for us. So like Jordan mentioned that like we had wanted to stop at the chocolate place and she took us over that way. I had mentioned that I am getting into house plants a little bit, and she took us over to this one place that I was like a living forest inside. It was so beautiful, just so much greenery. And she had said that like they'll even take your house plant and basically put them into like a little hospitalization if they're not doing so well. But yeah, it was really cool. Once we got back onto the main track of the tour, she took us to this place that essentially was like, it was like going to your grandmother's house. Quite literally, the host at the front had a button that just said like grandpa on duty. They gave you these little like grandma coins that you took up to the counter and you were able to get your cake. And she basically just said it was like a way for retired people to go back and like get to interact with, you know, the younger population and get to pass on a hobby that they really like. And
or for those that are workaholics and they don't quite want to retire yet.
like our grandparents.
still an activity.
Yeah, it was really neat. It was probably my favorite stop on the tour. Like, I could have spent hours there. It was really cool. She said you can't even get in without a reservation. And then our final, like, actual stop where we got food at was this little bar area. We just got a chocolate cake to split because at that point we were sugared out, but it was really delicious. I got an espresso. Jordan got like a little adult beverage to sip on. And then when we left there, she took us just a little out of the way again to show us the city from a different point of view. We went to the 25 Hours Hotel, which has like a rooftop bar. So we went up to the top and just got to survey the city from all around. She said it's really pretty at dusk and even more beautiful on New Year's Eve, which I wish we could be here for, but alas, we've got other plans. And then we ended up here.
So here's just a cool little market where they have kind of a Christmas theme going on. You can get drinks and hot chocolate and other sort of things. There's fun games, which is their version of
curling. Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much for the remainder of the night, we're gonna walk around, just see what else they have to offer. Overall, the tour is amazing, and I can't stress enough how important it is that you bring your COVID passport or documentation that you've been vaccinated along with an ID, because they check it at every single location.
It's true.
So it's handy that you have that. The tour guide was very nice. She was very friendly. Highly recommended tour. And right at the end, she actually gave us another gift. Just a little map so we don't get lost and we can figure out what we're going to be doing tomorrow.
Yeah, she wrote on here like places that we had mentioned that we wanted to go, potential Christmas markets, because they officially opened as of today, which we didn't even know. We were super lucky, so hopefully we'll get to check some more of those out tomorrow. But this will be our saving grace for tomorrow.
So today we don't really have any set plans. We're just gonna try to explore what we saw previews of the other day. So first stop is the massive campus of just gardens and forests and a palace right behind us. Using the Vienna Pass, we have unlimited transportation, which we took a bus to get here, and we're supposed to have discounted tickets to get in. So I saw that you can book them here or online, which we had no plans, so we bought them here. And we have entrance at 12:30. Until that time, we're gonna go grab a bite to eat.
Lunch was actually pretty decent. We just got this little like flatbread pizza thing to kind of share, and then we each got a dessert. It wasn't too expensive considering it was attached to the palace, and normally things like that, they are way overcharged, but no, it wasn't too bad. So it is 12:30, which means that we are on our way into the palace and we're gonna find out whatever's in store. I'm kind of picturing it to be a lot like the Palace of Versailles when we did that when we went to Paris about 2 years ago.
Well, couldn't film inside that building. That's okay, because we just went with the most basic tour, which is all about 15 minutes. And the Latria was right, it is very similar to the Palace of Versailles, which is kind of fitting since Marie Antoinette was from here. The gardens and the palace themselves resemble the Palace of Versailles. And we've kind of seen both not ideal weather conditions. Both have been cold, both have been to the point where the forests and the kind of just nature's kind of dying a little bit. So I bet this place, as well as the Palace of Versailles, is both beautiful in its peak condition. Around us are plenty of different statues, little alcoves with different venues, restaurants. There's a zoo in here, apparently. There's also a water fountain, which looks like there's no water because of the cold. And now we're going to explore and see what we can do. We keep picking places that just don't allow filming. I don't know what it is about Vienna in particular, but their museums and places of interest don't like people filming. On top of that, when I planned everything else out, I got the Vienna city pass for the day, which allows on paper a discount to museums, discount to restaurants, and unlimited transportation. And the only thing that we've benefited from so far is the unlimited transportation. Either they don't accept the discount, or the museums have very selective tours that you have to take to only get a small discount. I would recommend just going with the normal travel pass or the complete city pass. So the museum that we went to, the one that we weren't allowed to film in, had a lot of stuff about Vienna and the treasures and the history that they kind of have, the family vault, the treasures of Vienna itself, which included crowns and scepters and sabers and ceremonious gowns and stuff. One of the things that was particularly interesting inside the museum was they had this display case they carry around inside this glass, well sealed thing, was a nail that they had used on the cross where Jesus died. They also had tablecloth with the Last Supper. And the last artifact that they had was the Spear of Longinus, which was the spear that pierced Jesus to make sure that he was dead. And it's just been passed around for generation to generation as a symbol of power. And it now rests here. Now, as you can see, we spent some time in the museum. It's now a little darker, which means that the Christmas lights are going to be turning on. So what better way to do Christmas lights than with a cup of coffee?
Boy, oh boy, do I love coffee. We tried to stop at a little cafe that both of our previous tour guides recommended. However, we could not even get a reservation until Monday afternoon, and it is Saturday. So I guess if you really want to go to the Cafe Central, you need to book ahead of time. We ended up finding this place just around the corner. I haven't been in the Cafe Central, but this was pretty good, so I would highly recommend this one right here. I got a mochaccino, and Jordan got something that's roughly translated to a single carriage, and he was looking up what that meant, and essentially it's like carriage drivers would want to be able to drink their espresso, but they didn't want it to spill everywhere, so it just put a bunch of whipped cream on top, and so Jordan had to dig through the whipped cream to get to the espresso, but it was pretty good. It was fun to watch him drink it. So now we've got about 2 hours before our dinner reservations late tonight at about 8 o'clock. So we're just gonna walk around and hopefully find a Christmas market. Hopefully. Are we lucky that we actually got to see some Vienna Christmas markets. We had no idea that we were going to be able to see any type of Christmas markets now while we were here.
because one, COVID, so you never know what's gonna actually open. And then two, also it's the 13th of November, so a little early, but we are here for it. We got to have some of this alcoholic cider of some type. So I got orange and Jordan got apple. So good. Everybody was walking around with these little cups, and then you get the choice to either turn it back in and get some of your money back, or take it as a souvenir, which we've chosen to do. It's so pretty, so much beautiful lights, Christmas times, there's horse-drawn carriages, there's people walking around, children laughing. Like, I am here for the Christmas vibe. We've got another hour before dinner, and fingers crossed that we can possibly find another Christmas market. If not, I'm gonna be happy that we even found one.
Not even like 2 streets away is an entirely different Christmas market. Now, while we've already been to this one the other day, you can see that it's way more lively, and the people and the colors and the reflections of different Christmas lights on big cathedral. You really can't go more than a couple of streets, and then you find another market, big or small, they're everywhere. I wish we could stay here a lot longer, but we're gonna be late to our reservations if we do stay. So, dinner was a bust. We ended up making reservations that didn't exist.
Well, the reservations existed, but the restaurant did not.
So now we're gonna try and walk around the square behind us with all of the different restaurants available and try to find something.
Yeah, for sure. We'll find something good. And this pretty much wraps up our time here in Vienna. We had so much fun. We got really, really lucky that we got to hit all the Christmas market stuff just as it was opening. It really makes me want to go home and put up our Christmas tree. Are you ready for that, Jack, before Thanksgiving? Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check out the rest of the videos on the channel and hit like, share, and subscribe.
We'll see you next time.
Bye!